Good morning everyone, it's the Monday after the President's Putter, so the 31st of May. I'm out here doing course setup after it was a very busy day yesterday. If you played yesterday, I hope you played well. And I thought I'd shoot this month's course report as it's absolutely a glorious day. No wind either, so you should be able to hear me. So before we run through our usual aspects of the golf course report, we've got some growth eventually. About 10 days ago it started kicking off, and it has kicked off. May's been quite wet, about 85 mil of rain in the month against an average of about 45. And the temperatures have been down, but recently they start to pick up again, hence the big burst in growth. We're about a month behind. I'd say this is where we would normally be mid-April, so about four to 6 weeks behind. But we're getting there. Spring's almost over, summer's all but started, so hopefully things will start looking like they should do for the time of year. So we're going to go through the normal subjects now. I hope you enjoy the report. If you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments or ask me when you see me. So I'm standing on the second green, a green that looked very sick not long ago, and for those of you who haven't seen our video we did on leather jackets and how we removed them, this was one of the greens featured. Please have a watch because you'll be amazed at how many leather jackets we actually took out of our greens. But I'm pleased to report, sort of a week, 2 weeks after we did that, this is actually looking a lot better, a lot healthier. Helped by the growth burst. Obviously all greens were quite bumpy, where we was getting poor growth, and you can still see the old aeration holes from back in February when we done them. But the growth has helped that, and in general I'm quite pleased with the greens. President's Putter yesterday, we had the greens running at 9.5 on stimp, and I played myself and I thought they rolled really well. So the greens are coming back. Moving forward, obviously we've got a lot of seed heads now on the greens because of the growth, so we'll be verticutting more often, we'll be feeding and spraying. But on the whole, I'm actually really pleased with how the greens have turned around. So it's a greens report. You'll be able to see on this video as I'm shooting it, just on the second green, the amount of pitch marks that this is not on really, you know, this is bad, the amount there are on the green. And it does damage the green, as I've mentioned many times before. All that underneath those pitch marks have actually died. So if we could please repair your pitch marks. But that's the green section, and I'm pretty pleased. So on to tees and approaches. I'm standing next to the fifth green at the minute. Obviously it's a few days after we cut it, so it is a bit different than what it was when we first did it, but we've elected to cut all our green surrounds for the summer at 8 mil, which, you know, considering the greens are at 3.5, 4, that's actually quite short. This is a trial thing because it's never been this short before. When we cut them at the fairway height, that's at 13 mil, so it's quite a difference. But the idea is it will make chipping a little bit harder, but because the lies will be slightly tighter, but then you'll have easier putts, I suppose, from around the greens. The roll-offs will be a little bit more severe as well, therefore hitting the greens is a little bit harder. So it's for aesthetics, it's for playability, and we'll trial it, we'll see how it goes. If we have a hot summer and they might burn off a bit too much, so we might have to revert back, and obviously when we get in the winter, I don't think we'll be able to maintain that height during the winter. I think it'd be too wet, too muddy. But that's the approaches. All the approaches are cut at the minute at 8 mil, and we'll see how we go from there. Pleased with the coverage of the grass. Obviously the growth again, it's kicking off, which is helping. But we'll just trial it. So all approaches have been lowered to 8 mil, and we'll see how that goes. As far as the tees are concerned, the tees are still being cut twice a week. Divoting's been done regularly. Obviously markers being moved. Not a lot to report on the tees really, but just a little change on the approaches is we've lowered the height cut. So the fairways and rough section of this month's report I'm actually going to split into two, because it's the main focus of what we're going to talk about this month. But I'm standing on the 6th fairway. Fairways here at Sheerness are the biggest bugbear for all staff and all members. They really do let the golf course down. But moving forward, over the next few years, we're going to aim to try and put that right. It's going to be a massive undertaking. It's going to have a bit of disruption to the golf. But it's something I feel, and the club feels, we need to do to keep pushing the club forward. So over the next few months, we'll be outlining exactly what we're going to try and do. It will be time consuming, it will be costly, but hopefully the end result will be something that we all want to see. So last month in April, we scarified and overseeded all our fairways, and I'm pleased to report that a lot of that new seed is starting to come through. This is an area that's really obvious. You can see the lines there from the overseeder. A bare patch that's starting to actually get some growth back onto it. As far as the board areas are concerned, it's even with the kit that we hired in, we still couldn't reach all of those areas. So we're going to do some of them by hand, and other ones we're just going to leave. But the fairways are growing really, really fast. You know, if you look at this fairway, the amount of seed heads just there that you can see, it's really kicking off. And we actually cut this fairway on Friday, and it's Monday, and it looks like it's been cut for a month. But I promise you it was. We'll be back out cutting fairways again tomorrow. Winter rules will finish midnight tonight. So it's play as you lies, unfortunately, but there's not much you can do about it really. But fairways is a big part of our upcoming plans, and hopefully we can flatten some of these off and improve them dramatically. So stay tuned for that as the sprinklers kick on. So another area of the golf course that's very contentious, especially this time of year, is the rough. As I've already said in a previous part of this report, we are 4 to 6 weeks behind. Therefore the rough is very much where it would be in April opposed to May. We've got no browning off as yet. It's still growing very fast, very thick. We are cutting the rough every week, but you are going to find some thicker areas of the rough even after we've cut it. And so I'm standing on the 13th, just before the ditch here, and I just want to show you why it happens, and so you can better understand the clumpy rough. So standing on the fairway, you can see this dark ring that goes all the way around, and that is a disorder called a fairy ring, which basically produces naturally excessive nitrogen, which makes it grow super fast. So even after we've cut that a few days ago on the fairway, we'd actually be able to get that off. We'd get some cut with the semi-rough mower even after just 3 days. So if you transform that to the rough, that same ring comes around in here. This is the cut bit of rough, but as you can see, that area is a lot thicker and a bit longer than rough right next door. This is a problem, and we do have some massive clumps, especially on the marsh. We have some real thick areas, and that's what it's caused by. So a lot of it is down to luck. There's not a lot we can do about it. You can't remove this, nothing we can do to get rid of it other than dig it up. The soil underneath would actually be all white. So we do try our best, but you are going to get poor lives, and it's a case of managing how you play those shots. If you get in a clumpy bit and find your ball, there's no point in getting your free wood out. It's a wedge out, but then you could literally be a yard to the left, right, front, back, whatever, and you could get a wood on it. So it's always an issue this time of year. It will start browning off. There's a lot of moisture in the ground, obviously a wet May, so there's a lot of moisture in the ground, and once it starts browning off, it will become that thin and wispy grass that looks really nice and is actually playable. As far as the carries are concerned, I'm getting a few people say that the carries are a bit too long. We could cut it all down, it would look pretty boring, and I am a believer that if you hit a bad shot, a top off the tee, you shouldn't just be able to get a free wood on it and hit it back up the fairway. It should, you know, potentially cost you a shot, whether it's you wedge out or whatever. In terms of length, we gauge it off the third. The third pond is 100 yards to carry off the tee. All of the approaches here, all the carries here, are not any longer than that. So if you can knock it over the third, you should be able to knock it over all the carries. Again, you might get like hole 5 where you get a clumpy bits. As I said, we can't really do too much about that. I think the carries are fair. Obviously some people have different opinions on that, but I do think the carries are quite fair on the rough. But that is a little section of the rough at the minute. It's not where we want it to be because of the time of year in the growth, the moisture in the ground. But we do work very hard to get our rough thin and wispy, and it will be that soon. Just need it warm up a little bit more, brown off a little bit, and it'll be much more manageable. Okay, that's the rough. So that is all the subjects covered in the June course report. In summary, May's been wet, quite cold, apart from the the last few days. I think we've missed spring altogether, so we've pretty much gone from winter to summer. And as a result, we are a little bit behind where we'd normally find ourselves this time of year. Grass is growing very quickly, it's leading to the rough being very green, very lush, very thick, but that will improve. We will get the grass turned brown and get a bit thinner. So green staff got loads to do. We're trimming and cutting rough and cutting grass all the time, and we're struggling to keep on top of it, but I can assure you we are doing it. But in summary, I'm pretty pleased with the state of the course at the minute. Apart from the pitch marks, all members need to do the pitch marks. That's a pretty poor show from us all. So that's the end of the course report. If you've got any questions, either see me in person, email the office, or leave them in the comment section on this report, and I'll see you all soon.